Hi, beautiful soul. My name is Chelsea. I'm an intuitive wellness coach, and I love teaching people more about the energetics around their health. Today, I'm answering a question from one of you related to how to energetically or how to address collar up stealth infections, energetically and spiritual lens. So I love this question because in a previous video that you haven't even seen yet at this time, we talked about infections, and I mentioned Lyme and some other related infections to that. Stealth infections are basically infections that go unnoticed. They can be quote unquote chronic, and you can have symptoms, but they're often not caught. A lot of the issues are actually dental, which we talked about. And so in this region of the body is often overlooked as part of the body. Like, we focus a lot on the gut, we focus a lot on, the lungs, the cardiovascular system, metabolism even, but we often fail to think about the impact that the head, this part of the body, has on the rest of the body. Aside from the vagus nerve, we're getting pretty good at talking about that. But there are a few things that you can actually do or consider when you have possibly or potentially some stealth infections here. So, there's the approach of going for various testing. That would generally be down the dental route, and there's very specific ways to do that. Conventionally, at least in Canada, it's challenging to be able to get testing specific enough for that. In the States, you have a lot more options for that. But aside from that, there are things that you can do or consider. So one of them is jaw alignment. So for, 10 years or so, let me back that up. So when I was in grade 8, I was looking at the textbooks, and I noticed that the lymphatic system stopped right here. And I thought that was a bit odd because every other system of the body goes all throughout the head, the circulatory system. We still have tissue that runs up that way. Like, we're made of cells there. So it seemed odd to me that there would be no lymphatic system. And then fast forward about 10 years later, they finally said, oh, there is a lymphatic system. We just didn't know how to study or access that. So the body, again, is made so brilliantly, or evolved so brilliantly, however you want to believe that. And I think we often lack the respect for it. But that is a side note. So anyway, there is a lymphatic system that goes through the head, the brain, and it's called the glymphatic system. So that's specific more to the brain. There's specific cells that actually help to drain and detox the brain. And the vast majority of that detoxification occurs at night. And at night, you need to have proper jaw alignment to allow the drainage. Even the sinuses, certain sinuses can only drain when you're in a supine or laying back position. So having proper alignment as you sleep is something to consider. If you're clenching your jaw at night, it may be time to consider a bite plate. There's reasons for doing the clenching. You should look into that. But just to get the alignment more correct for the drainage, that can be something to consider itself. Something else that I wanted to, so again, there's orofacial exercises that you can also do to adjust the jaw alignment. And then how you breathe at night is also another one of these aspects. The other things that I wanted to mention that kind of came up when I looked at this question are nasal sprays. So there's xylitol nasal sprays, there's various nasal sprays that you can use, because mold is another really common stealth infection, especially in the sinuses. Mold will anchor into metals, so you also want to consider some metals. And here's the thing that I found out personally, even though I knew it clinically. I had to test it myself, I guess. I was taking melatonin. Melatonin is a beautiful hormone that we produce in our own bodies for helping to get into sleep. It's also a really great antioxidant, and it has many properties. So I was using it for sleep and just general health and prevention. And I started to notice, first of all, that I was really groggy and I was taking a fairly low dose. So I thought, well, that's weird. Something has shifted there. And what can happen when you're getting groggy from taking melatonin is it's actually leaching metals from the brain, because the brain is really fatty and it takes in a lot of toxicity. If you've got a lot of metals there, the melatonin basically opens the blood-brain barrier and starts dumping all this stuff. So if you're getting groggy from melatonin, it may be an indication, oh, I might have some detox to do there. And you want to be doing that specifically with someone. You don't want to just be willy-nilly throwing something out there for metal detoxification, especially related to the head and brain. But that's an interesting note. And then with the metals coming out, again, that anchors in the mold and other infections. So you want to address those other things behind that. Some other things that actually show up is acupressure points around the clavicle or collarbone. I have a little exercise that I send a lot of clients who have congestion in the head. I also did a quick Instagram on that as well. So there's acupressure points that you can do a full massage, and that will help to drain the system. Also putting your tongue near your teeth at the roof of your mouth and pressing there with the tip of your tongue, that also opens up the drainage pathways. It also exercises the vagus nerve and does a little orofacial toning. So again, there are specific things around that you could look at. But what I wanted to mention was, again, when you're draining the lymphatic system with those meridians, those acupressure points, there are points along the collarbone that actually physically the lymphatic system drains into the heart in that area. So there are specific things that you can address there. There are things that you can also do more energetically in the rest of the body to kind of reflex up to that system. But we're not going to go into that. So I hope that gives a little bit more insight into some of the things that you can do. Otherwise, beyond that, it gets pretty personalized. So if that's something that you're dealing with and you'd like to work on that with the energetic lens as well as the physical, then you can reach out via email, hello@joyfulbodymethod.com. You can send me a little note in the YouTube comments, or you can DM me on Instagram @joyfulbodymethod, and I'm happy to figure out if it's a good fit or if there's a referral that I can think of that's best fit for you. A strategy session is also my application call. That's also time that we can use to dive in as to whether or not it's a good fit to do personalized coaching together, or if I can find someone else, some next best action step. So I hope that helps and gives you a little more insight into stealth infections above the collarbone. Till next time, be well, take care.